Being an NBA fan and part of the big buzz right now is Dwight Howard and the sexual allegations that are of him assaulting another man is the big buzz. Not exactly what I want to talk about, but I know I got to deal with the allegations first before I can get into the subject matter that actually irritated the hell out of me. Now, let me go ahead and say that I generally try to look at things as fairly as I possibly can. I don't prejudge people when it comes to situations like this. Let's hear the facts before we go ahead and jump to a conclusion. But I know most people, depending upon whatever their preconceived notions are, they're going to go ahead and say he's guilty or he's innocent. Uh, Even for myself, and let me say this part because I know some people who know me will know this about me. Yes, I have a matrimonial family member who is matrimonially akin to Dwight Howard. I have, which means that there's a family member of mine through marriage to me, but biologically akin to Dwight Howard. I also have a close friend of mine who is also close friends with Dwight Howard. That in no way moves my thought process in judgment as far as what's going on with this situation. As a matter of fact, I don't have any judgment right now. The allegations are thus: a man named Harper claimed, who Dwight Howard has been in contact with, started 2 years ago, has been in contact with this man, and they have shared some intimate moments, according to statements made by Dwight Howard himself and this gentleman. They shared texts. There was an arrangement for them to meet at Dwight's house. While on the way, the person, Harper, received a message from Howard about having a threesome with someone named Kitty. The person said they initially in the text, this is part of that bothers me, but not the main part I want to get to. But the person is saying that, hey, I'm not into that. But yet they kept coming. They allowed the Uber to keep driving him to the house. If you're not interested in it, why are you still on your way? This is when you say, no, this is not my scene. I'm turning around. I'm going back home. All of these things. So you continue to go to a place where there was something that you weren't uh, ready to deal with or wanted to deal with, but you showed up. And when you showed up, now after y'all participated in some type of threesome, this person waits, and then they decide that they're going to tell, according to Dwight Howard's attorney, that person then decided that, hey, either you pay me some money or I'm going to bring out this story about you, whether true or false, we don't know yet, but I'm going to bring out this story about you. Now, we know, we know how homosexuality in elite sports are treated. We absolutely know how this is treated. So let's not act like we're naive about that. Dwight Howard decides, no, we're going to let this play out in court. Regardless of what it may do to my sports career, we're going to let this play out in court. So this gentleman, Harper, then a year after the incident, decides that he's going to now go to Gwinnett County and file a complaint. And of course, this is a year later. What was happening in that entire year that this happened, and now you're reporting it? Then, because he possibly didn't get the money that he wanted, he's now filing a civil suit, not a criminal suit, but a civil suit against Dwight Howard, and making accusations of being forced to participate in this situation. We don't know yet. Let the let the case play itself out. Is this suggesting that Dwight Howard is bisexual or gay? A man can't be bisexual as far as the world's mindset, but he can only be one. He can only be straight or gay. That's it. But let's let it play out. But that's not the thing that bothers the hell out of me. So on one of the pages that I follow for NBA content on YouTube, people were making comments, some of them very derogatory, some of them in just related to the sport itself. But it's this type person, this right here. Let's continue to pray for Dwight, that Jesus saves him even in these times and continue to help him. And this other person saying facts. This is one of the reasons why there are a lot of people who feel like they have to hide their lifestyle. A person like Dwight Howard already would have to struggle with, if this is the case, would have to struggle with his sexuality in an elite sport. But then it's the religious groups. And this is one of the main reasons why LGBT community does struggle. I do not support every aspect of their claims and what they desire, but what I do support is that a person should be able to work. A person should be able to consensually live their life however they choose to live their life, as long as everyone is consenting and everyone is of age. That is, I could care less about what your orientation is, who sleeps in your bed, who you have sex with. I really could care less at that point. That's your business, that's your life. But this is the problem with the religious community. The religious community has to force their mindset onto everyone. Let us continue to pray that Jesus will help. Maybe Dwight Howard does not care about your Jesus. Maybe your Jesus doesn't exist at all. Maybe your Jesus is something that is just for you and not for anyone else. Why is it that you have to push your agenda onto someone else? And if it wasn't for the heinous things that were done based on your Bible and your religious thought process, then many of the sufferings that people who are homosexual would not have to have dealt with. Do you realize that your book does not tell you to pray for Dwight Howard? It tells you that a person who is committing those types of things that you call sin in your book, that you should stone them. So are you prepared to go and stone Dwight Howard and Mr. Harper? Are you prepared to go do that? Because that's what your book says, that you're supposed to go and stone these people. In the Old Testament, it says that. In the New Testament, according to Paul, you are supposed to destroy that person's body and give it over to Satan so that their soul can then be returned to God. Go read your own book. This is what your book says, that you are to do that. Give their body, destroy their body, and give it over to Satan. Give their flesh over to Satan, and then a lot so that their soul can ascend to God. That's in your Bible. But I bet you didn't know that. I bet you don't follow that. How about y'all stay in your own business and allow people to live their lives? Now, if this case turns out to be some type of assault, then he's wrong and should suffer the consequences thereof. But if it's not, and it's a money grab, which it does, we know that happens, then let that be that. This should not affect his NBA career. This should not affect him becoming a Hall of Famer. This should not affect his ability to continue to play basketball. This should not affect any of those things if it is found that these allegations are false. If this man wants to continue to play basketball, he should be allowed to. That is a situation that he would have to deal with each team and those players and those organizations, depending upon how they feel about the situation. And those things can be handled in a just and fair way. Because I guarantee you right now that out of the centers who are playing in the NBA, Dwight Howard is still probably better than more than half of them. And there are many teams that could use his abilities. So if these allegations are false, let the man play basketball. If these allegations are false, let the man live his life. Now, if they are true, then let justice prevail. And that's it. Because everybody deserves the right to live their life in however style that they want to live, as long as they're not violating someone else or someone else's rights to live the life how they choose to live their life. So with all things, remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.